and I basically tell y'all everything I know every week. I'm just waiting on you to actually do it one time. I'm just kidding. You're great. You're growing. I know. You're a disciple. But it's like the process of creativity, it has certain points in it. When I was talking about it, I called it the sticking points. And as I talked about that creatively, I want to speak about it today. That's the title of my message. It's called The Sticking Point. Because everything that you love in life is going to have a part of the process that you don't like, and a part that is going to tempt you to quit. And it doesn't mean you don't love it. I don't know when we started thinking that we have to love everything or like everything all the time. You know, I quit my job because I wasn't feeling it. Well, were you feeling indoor plumbing? Go back to work. Pay your bills. You don't have to love everything all the time, you know? Because everything that you love is going to have a part. I called it the sticking point. It's going to have a part or parts that you don't prefer. Okay, I can't tell if you're with me yet. Let me take this a level deeper. Every person that you love, look straight ahead, is going to have some parts that you don't prefer. I'm going to say it that way. It's gentler than saying that you don't like or that you want to change. Not me. I love everything about him. You're dating. It's been 2 weeks. I can tell. Because every person, and there's a parable about this. Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is like a man who found a treasure and was excited. And so he liked the treasure so much that he sold everything and bought the field that the treasure was in. So if you want the treasure, you've got to buy the field. This isn't going good. We want the treasure, not the dirt that comes around it. We want the treasure or the blessings, or sometimes we want those joyful moments. But even if you love your marriage, there will be some times where you just want to control the TV without any voting, you know? Even if you love your kids, there will be times where you will secretly Google adoption agencies to see. I've never actually done that, for the record. I'm getting hate mail. But everything you love, even preaching, there's times when I'm preaching that I feel the Spirit. And then there's times where I look at the wrong person in the room and I feel another spirit, the spirit of stress, the spirit of, oh my, even people will walk out sometimes while you're preaching. And I called it, when I was talking to them, the sticking point. It's the moment where you start to doubt what you were so secure in. It's the moment where your mood doesn't match your mission, but you've got to push through anyway because you've got something important to do. It's the moment where, oh, I didn't know that about you when I said I do. Well, you did, and now you do. The sticking point. For a scriptural example, I thought of no better passage than the classic Exodus, where God led his people out of Egypt through the Red Sea. Did you notice what I said in my setup? Through the Red Sea. Not over it on a boat, but through it on foot. You are going through something right now. You are at a sticking point. I don't know if it is a state of mind, because sometimes we are stuck not in our situation, but in our state of mind. Even recently, Holly pulled up a picture from a few years ago when we were flying home from Seattle and we got stuck in Chicago overnight on a layover. We were laughing because we were in such a bad mood. We were just remembering how late it was. It was probably 10 o'clock at night, but let's make it 2 a.m. just for dramatic effect on the story. Creative license. But it was late and our bags were checked and we had no clean underwear. And we checked into this horrible hotel that American Airlines had put on. and we were stuck in Chicago, and we were laughing about that. We weren't laughing when it happened. We were laughing looking at when it happened, 2 or 3 years ago. And I remember that when we got stuck in Chicago. Well, why were we stuck in Chicago? Technically, American Airlines. But if you take it apart a little bit more, the city of Chicago is a city that we like. We have visited there by choice before. When I preached for Steve Muncie and J-Mac, we stayed over 2 extra days just so we could shop and watch the Cubs. We had a good time too. We ate deep dish pizza. This was in my early 30s when I could do it and just plank a little bit and it would fall right off. But we had marital enrichment in the hotel room on that trip. That was a good trip. So there's nothing wrong with Chicago. It wasn't Chicago. It wasn't like it was Des Moines. I love y'all so much. You're so triggered. My aunt's from there. When's the last time you went to see her? Huh? It wasn't the situation that we were stuck in. The reason we called it stuck is because it wasn't on our schedule. You better get to the text, Furtick. Exodus chapter 14, verse 10. The Israelites are leaving Egypt, right? God heard their cry. They were stuck as slaves for 4 centuries, serving Pharaoh, who had taken away their building materials, increasing their requirements while reducing their resources. So they're stuck, and God hears them, and God breaks through, and God uses Moses to lead them out, because there comes a period where God sees you stuck and realizes that you cannot get yourself out of the situation. So he said, I've heard the cries of my people, and I have come down to visit them. And when he chose Moses to do it, he knew all about Moses' brokenness, and he knew all about Moses' reluctance. And he led them out, and he compelled Pharaoh to let them go. Not the first time, not the second time, but after 10 plagues of negotiation. Sticking point is a negotiation term. They talk about it in business. Well, we almost had the deal done, but then the asking price was a sticking point because they wouldn't let me finance it over 5 years. They wanted me to pay it off in 3, or they wanted me to leave the septic tank, and I wanted to dig it out and take it with me. We hit a sticking point. You hit a sticking point in your faith. You hit a sticking point in a relationship. You hit a sticking point in your life, and you've come as far as you can come, and then God comes down, and he sees you struggling, and he does for you what you cannot do for you. And then, don't shout, you come to something that wasn't on your schedule. Exodus 14, verse 10. When Pharaoh drew near, wait, what's Pharaoh doing in the picture? I thought we were done with him. No? Okay, can I preach on half of a verse? Y'all got anything to do after this, or should we just, okay. Complete this sentence. If you grew up in church, complete this sentence. Where God guides, he provides. True. Let me add to it. Where God doesn't guide, he still provides because he's so good. Have you ever had God bless you when you were going backwards and doing the wrong stuff? There's angels in this section over here. Have you ever, Elijah in the Bible, he was running from Jezebel in the wrong direction from his assignment. He laid down and wanted to die, even though he had seen God do great things, and the angel made him a cake. He was going away from his assignment, and God fed him with an angel food cake. Now, don't look at me like the reason that you always ate is because you were always good. Some of you know that you didn't deserve it. You didn't earn it. You didn't pray enough to get it. You didn't quote Philippians. You didn't always take the right turn or follow the North Star. But God tracked you down under a broom tree and blessed you anyway. I need some people who were blessed anyway to shout just 10 seconds. Just shout because he fed you even as you fled from him. So where God guides, he provides. But even where God doesn't guide, he'll still take care of you.